I don't know if you can hear the fucking copter out there, but she's out there. It's been going off for a long time now. Okay. I'm a little delayed. Yes, I'm aware that I am a little delayed this week. I think I might have skipped like 2 weeks. I don't know. That's kind of what it feels like. I have had an interesting week days. I wanted to start off this video by saying that this is gonna be my last episode that I make because I was threatened that I was gonna get my ass beat for making last episode. That was very, very comedic. No, I'm actually, this is not my last episode. I just thought I would throw in there because that was really funny. That was very funny. Uh, but yeah, my last episode ruffled a couple of chickens' feathers. I I watched the last episode over again just to see if I included anyone's name in the story that I was telling that happened to me. And I don't think I. Oh my god, this fucking helicopter. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I don't think I disrespected anyone. I don't think I was talking shit about anyone. If I am talking shit about anyone, it's probably myself. But because of that, I just want to reassure whoever is watching, if you're tuned in to episode 6. I make these videos because I love to create. I've loved creating since I can remember, especially videos. I like to create videos. I like to put shit together. Um, I just like to create. I just like to make things. It makes me feel good about myself through the process and the production. Like I just like to create, and the idea of making a podcast was for me so that I can talk about things that I've experienced, um, things that have happened to me. I correct me if I'm wrong, but we're allowed to speak on the things that have happened to us, and we're allowed to have opinions, and we're allowed to just express how certain things that people have said made us feel, and that's okay. It's okay. I think once someone starts including names, photographs, like points of stories, like actual storytelling, then yeah, go ahead and accuse me of talking shit about you. But I don't think I talked shit about anyone. If I did, I'm probably talking shit about myself, to be honest, because I'm on here telling my stories. These are things that have happened to me. And I don't turn on the camera and chat to air out anything. I don't air out things. I just talk about things that have happened to me and how they've made me feel and how I react now through my healing versus how I would have react maybe had I not healed. What's so fucking wrong with that? Absolutely nothing at all. Again, I turn on the camera and I record to share my experiences and to share my outlook on them on both ends, on the other person's end and on my end, how I felt, what I thought about the situation, how I reacted, and solely just based on how I experienced said situation. I'm not speaking on one certain situation at all. I'm just speaking about everything that I've talked about. I have solely talked about things that have happened to me and things that I've experienced. And, you know, there's a lot of people in this world. There's a lot of people that I've come across, and there's a lot of situations that I was put in, or that I physically put myself in, with a tremendous amount of people, not just the one. So, with that being said, if the shoe fits, you can shove it up your ass. But let me remind you that you don't have to shove it up your ass. Even though it fits, you don't have to put it on. You get to make that choice. So, with that being said, if the shoe fits, you have full control of putting it on or not. It's that simple. Anyways, moving along, I have had enough of said people. I've had enough of that conversation, that topic, the negative feelings that that has brought me, the negative energy. I'm just really over it. I feel like that last day, the last time I recorded, I feel like there was definitely a shift, and it was a really big one. And I welcomed it with open arms and an open heart and an open mind and an open asshole. It's like, yes, please come. Just fucking, just come and rid of said negative things, that don't align with me anymore. And I honestly hope that that happened for everybody else as well. And if I was the negative in your life, I am glad that I'm out of it. Like, I'm not gonna leave that shit out either. But moving, moving and grooving right along. I had a very interesting week. I I experienced some more cutoffs, which were amazing and great. That was the start of it all. I I've been wanting to go back to the WB studios to work, and I booked to work on set again. I I have mentioned, yes, scusi. I've mentioned on my social media. I've mentioned on my Instagram the set that I worked for. I'm not gonna say on camera because I'm not supposed to, but I worked on this set that I've been meaning to book, and that was fucking great and amazing. And right after that, since the WB Studios is like literally right behind Universal Studios, you can actually, if you guys have been on the tram, and actually not tram. Well, you can probably see it from the tram view as well. But you know how you go to Universal Studios and you go downstairs to the lot downstairs and you have to take like 4 flights of escalators and it's like forever to go downstairs. But like on your way, there's a really nice scenery of I think it's Burbank, and you can see the WB logo. It's like the water tank. That's the set studio that I worked at, and so we got called in pretty early, and they only needed us for a couple of hours. So by 2 in the afternoon, I was already out of there. And I have a Universal Studios tour pass. I mean tour pass. Stupid. I have a Universal Studios year pass. So I said I haven't been to Universal in a minute. I've been wanting to go. It's Halloween season. It's decked out. Let me go kill some time for the Uber to get cheaper before I start heading back home. So I went on an adventure. I I didn't realize how far Universal Studio was from the WB studio. It was like such a I literally so from the WB studio, I I could have just caught an Uber, but honestly, it was early in the day. It's like a pretty nice, calm area. It doesn't feel unsafe, so I was like, let me just go on a little walk and see if I can walk myself to Universal Studios. The walk there would have been like an hour, and I don't want to do that. But then also the train ride, it would have been an hour as well. So I'm like, well, it's kind of hot out. I can use a little bit of AC, so I hitchhiked all the way to the bus stop that was going to drop me off, um, down the hill by Universal City. I literally walked like 25 minutes maybe, but I enjoyed my walk. I came across some deers, which is insane. I came across a deer and its baby. They were just like eating it, and I thought that was pretty interesting. So I'm like, okay, this is a good sign. Let me keep walking. I'll be fine. I just, kept walking to the bus stop. I took that bus. It was a really nice, fresh ride. It was so cold in there and very much needed. So I'm glad I didn't walk all the way to Universal because that would have been a little insane. But I got to Universal and this was maybe like 4. It was already like 4 in the afternoon. So I got to Universal. I'm enjoying my little time there. My favorite ride there is the tram, which is like the backlot tram. But because of Horror Nights, this was on a Thursday. They close down the park at 6 and then they start just kicking people out. I think like around 5 or 5:30 they start closing down the rides and all of that. So the last tram left at 4:15, so I was like maybe 10 minutes too late to get on the tram, which I was bummed out about because that was probably the only one ride that I want to get on before I just kind of called it a day. Another thing I really enjoy doing at Universal is I'll go to the what is it, the Dublin's pub or the Irish pub that's there. It's across the street from the Secret Life of Pets ride and right across the Despicable Me entrance. So I think that's the only place that you can get this drink. It's like on the secret menu. You order it. It's called Jurassic Water, and they literally just put like everything in it. So it's like really spiked. And with one, I honestly feel like you're good with just one to enjoy the rest of your day. So I walked in there, I picked up my typical Jurassic Water. I wanted to go and sit in Little Paris because that's what I do. But of course, because of Horror Nights, they took off the little seating area and they decked it out with like scarecrows and like, skeletons and all of this shit for Horror Nights. So then I kept walking. That's when I think I tried to make my way to the tram, but then I saw it was I was a little too late for it. But then I came across Dracula and I scared him, which is pretty funny. And I just decided to go downstairs, like down to the bottom lot. I was able to get on Jurassic Park and I got on Mummy in like a matter of 20 minutes both. It was super fast. You know, it was like people were already leaving at that point because again, Horror Nights is happening and the park closes at 6 for general admission. So, it starts approaching 6 and I make my way back up. I still had some of my drink left over. So I was like, I'm not going to toss this. I'm just going to sit down and watch people come in and watch people leave. So I sat down in like right across from like the mystery machine, which is right up the alley of the Secret Life of Pets ride, that little section. I just kind of sat there alongside other people that were just kind of hanging out there. And I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna chill here, sip on my drink, and wait till someone approaches me and kicks me out, or doesn't. I, mm-hmm. So I waited and I waited and I was watching the securities like start to, you know, close down like certain sections of the park to like really push people out and only allow people that have wristbands for Horror Nights. And I start seeing people coming in, and they're being allowed in through passing the security because they have wristbands, and then you know people are coming out that don't have them, and it's like maybe like 6:40 at this point. It's almost about to be 7, and I'm just waiting, and I'm just watching. I'm just looking at people like the security and the workers just like rush back and forth because you know I guess they're trying to prep for Horror Nights. It's sounds like it's a lot. And I was just like, nobody look at me. I'm just sitting here with these people. They have wristbands. I have a wristband too. So, so I was just like, let me see how far I can go with this. I I just literally waited, and once it hit 7 and they started letting crowds of people in, and I got up and I started walking towards the pub again because I thought, let me go sit inside the pub, then no one's gonna watch for me to see if I have a wristband or anything. So I made my way back to the pub. They were still closed, and I just kind of sat down outside of the pub. And it was like at this point in this area, it was very empty. So, you know, people are just coming in for Horror Nights. So I sit down by myself, and a worker approaches me and he's like, hey, are you part of the second crew? And I'm like, hmm? Yeah, are you part of the second crew? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, oh, do you have a wristband? I'm like, hmm? He's like, oh, so the exit's gonna be over there. This is Horror Nights, blah blah blah. You know, starts giving me the spiel to try to get me out, and I'm like, okay. So then I'm like, okay, fine. I'm getting kicked out now. So I get up, I follow him. I thought he was gonna walk me all the way to the exit, but he didn't. He literally just walked me all the way up to Starbucks, and he's like, "Oh, the exit's over there," because at this point, like, there's rushes of people pouring in, like, for Horror Nights. Like, I'm talking about like groups and groups of people just like rushing in of excitement. And I saw this guy. He goes back to his position, and I'm like, hmm. He didn't take me all the way to the exit. He really thinks I'm gonna walk to the exit by myself. Okay, sir. So I'm like, okay, Horror Nights is starting. The intro's about to happen with all the clowns and shit. And I'm like, let me just watch. It's kind of fun to just let me see how far I can go. And then I saw more and more groups of people coming in, and I'm like, this is a perfect time to go ride the tram. So I just ran in with one of the groups and fucking I I hid in Mo's bar. I hid in Mo's bar. And I was like, okay, the bracelets are red, some of them are white, mostly they were white. So I'm like, okay, I need to find a bracelet. I look at my bag, I have some receipt paper from some things that I purchased earlier. So I'm like, that's my wristband. So I just made my own wristband and I waited until it was dark out so that they don't really, they're not really going to be like, oh, let me see what that it says Horror Nights, you know? So yeah, that's how I stayed for Horror Nights. I went after I saw it was like kind of getting a little darker. I bought another beer and then I walked to the tram. I got on the tram, and the tram is I think it's like Blumhouse production, so it's like Megan and like the phone and or telephone, whatever the fuck it's called. It was not that great, but it was good for me because I usually am really, really like my anxiety is like over the roof when it comes to like these types of things. I like to just test it out just to see how much I can handle. But this time, I don't know if it was because I was by myself and like I only had myself to worry and rely on. I was like, just do it. Fuck it. You're not gonna die. Not today. You're not gonna get your ass beat today. So I was like, fuck it, let me do it. Oh my god. I think the only thing that made me feel safe was pulling my phone out and recording. Um I don't know, it's a psychological thing, but I noticed that's the only time that I felt safe because I would try to put my phone away, be like, okay, there's not that's enough recording. Let me enjoy this. But then my mind or my anxiety would tell me, no, pull your phone out and record. They won't scare you as much if you're recording. So I that's what I did. Uh, I browsed around to see like all the other mazes, but they were just like outrageously long wait lines and wait times, and I was just like, no, I'm cool. Um, it's 8. I think it's like 8 at this point. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go. Like, I just need to go. Call it quits before I get caught. I probably could have stayed and just really enjoyed the rest of Four Nights, but I honestly only wanted to get on the tram. That was like my only goal when I entered Universal's to begin with. So I achieved my goal of getting on the tram. But yeah, that's how you do it, man. Don't tell anyone I told you. But besides that, I time to get a little serious. But I've been not to get way too serious or too deep into this topic, but or maybe I as of recent, I have been, I guess, as I mentioned before on in my other episode with my friend Jaime, I have been trying to find um a decent, I'm not going to say a good relationship because I don't think there's anything good from that, but I've been trying to find it like a decent relationship with alcohol. And I noticed that if I go out anywhere by myself or if I go out with friends or something, like the thought of drinking is already there, like it's already programmed, like I'm going to consume alcohol today, like without a doubt, like that's what we're going to go do for fun, like it's always that. And that's something that I've been acknowledging within myself, and something that I've been struggling to, like, find and figure out, and just kind of sit in my own shit, if you will, trying to, I don't know if I'm just really sitting in it, and acknowledging it. Um, to better express it, I'm just acknowledging the relationship with the alcohol, and the moments where I consume it, and how, when does it start? When does the thoughts start? When does the feelings of wanting to consume it start? What am I telling myself? How am I preparing myself to go out, and that's like my main goal of the night. I've just kind of been really observing all of my thoughts when I decide to put myself in a situation that could potentially, lead to that. For example, horror nights. Um, or just Universal in general. That day, I wanted to go to Universal Studios, go to the pub, get a Jurassic water, sit on the tram. That's what I wanted to do straight off the bat. I was serious with myself. Not serious. Yeah. I was honest with myself, is the word that I was trying to look for. I was honest with myself of what I wanted to do. So that's what I did. Uh, that day, I wanted to only consume one drink, and I ended up consuming three. I consumed two beers and that Jurassic water. And I mean, there was nothing wrong, nothing happened. I was fine. Everything was great. I had a good time and all. But that guilt feeling was there, because from the start I told myself that I only wanted to consume that one beverage, and I got too comfortable and I overstepped. That's all. So I've been in that cycle of like trying to figure out, I guess, the relationship, trying to understand it. And I've been asking myself the questions when I put myself in these situations. And this is solely for myself. These are my feelings, these are my reactions, these are my beliefs, and this is my journey. It's part of my healing. Um, Alcohol has been tied to my life in a very negative light, and it continues to. And it's something that I'm slowly, intentionally trying to step away less and less. But I'll be honest with myself, I'm not ready to stop completely. And I think that's the first step of really, really just being honest. I I like drinking. Sometimes I want to drink a beer. Sometimes I enjoy drinking wine. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I want to consume it so I can get fucked up or drunk or whatever, or enjoy, or elevate the feeling of, wherever the fuck I'm at. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean any of those things. It can be for different reasons, because of the taste or because of the familiarity that takes place. And it's just familiar, and it's something that, it's a pattern and continues. And it's like, for example, Universal Studios, I have developed the pattern of going there and drinking a Jurassic water. It's sometimes it's very much just those familiar steps that I've taken before, and I know how they go, and they feel safe, and whatever. But that doesn't mean that I am not actively trying to understand why ultimately that's the end goal for my outings. So yeah, I've been just really dissecting certain areas of my fucking brain, I guess. I don't know, I'm just kind of I've been given the tools, ever since I started doing therapy. In a sense, I've been given the tools to better assess certain situations and to better approach them, and how and for example, before I didn't know how to go about it. In a sense, I was like a headless chicken, just kind of living life. But um, just getting older and realizing that we change, and the things that we enjoyed before are probably not that enjoyable anymore. And that's just kind of realization that there's change that needs to be added to your life, and whatever that is, it doesn't matter for me in this moment. The topic that I'm talking about is alcohol. There is a sense of like, for me, there's like I said, it's been tied to my life in a very negative way since I was a kid. So I would like to get far away from it at some point in my life. But even that, it's not easy, and it requires a lot of work and a lot of healing, and I'm just in the middle of doing all of that. But yeah, with that being talked about, I had been thinking about going to this concert. It's a Neil Young concert. I am obsessed with Neil Young, and I just love his music. All of his music, it's fucking amazing. He's been making music, I think, since like the 60s or the 70s. And he was performing at the Hollywood Bowl on the 15th, and I had been thinking of going. My boyfriend was working that day, so that's also another thing that I'm like, dang, he's working. I don't mind going alone, but I kind of don't want to. But I really want to see Neil Young. But I'm like, okay, let me just kind of sit in it, and as the day approaches, see how I feel about it. So the day approaches, I wake up, and that's the first thing on my mind is, you need to buy your ticket to go see Neil Young, and you're gonna go see Neil Young tonight. So it's like, fuck it. I opened my fucking phone and I purchased the ticket first thing in the morning, and that was it. That was my to-do list for the day. And I actually had therapy that day as well. It was on a Monday, and I was talking about the whole drinking situation with my therapist, and I had talked to her about how I'm gonna go see Neil Young today, and my mind is already prepping me for drinking. But then there's like some part of me that is telling me you don't have to. But then there's that other part of me that's telling me, but you should, because you're going to go alone and you're going to have anxiety, and you're going to enjoy the show so much more better. But then this other side of me is telling me, no, maybe you should go sober. You're going to ride your Vespa back home, so you might as well just go sober, come back home sober, and you'll thank yourself at the end of the day. So I'm just going back and forth, and she basically, you know, makes me think of the pros and the cons of drinking and not drinking, and really, really thinking about it. Like, be very mindful towards the decision you're making and think about why it's taking up so much space to make this one decision. And I don't know, she just made it seem so like simple. And people would think it is a fucking simple. You either drink or you don't, bitch, you know? But for me in this situation, it's like it's just simply a back and forth in my brain. It's like two voices. And so I said, you know what? I'm gonna ride my Vespa back home anyways, so I shouldn't be drinking and driving because I don't have a license. And so I'm like, you know what? Yeah, just go, enjoy the show, and you'll be fine. Like, just go. So I told myself off the bat I wasn't going to drink today because I don't have to. I can make that decision. I can say, maybe not today, it's fine. I've done it before. Why is it such a fucking, back and forth with myself? Um, so yeah, I went and I had a yerba mate because I'm also addicted to those fucking things. And I actually took my Vespa and I parked it somewhere in downtown. I took the metro from downtown all the way to Hollywood, and vice versa. I did the same on my way back. So I kind of really, really faced a lot of my fears this week. I I like horror nights, but I'm very fearful of it. So I did that by myself, and I went on the fucking metro. That was fucking scary by myself. Again, I did it again, and I went to a show by myself and I didn't consume alcohol by myself. So that is a fucking win win for me, honestly. I cried. It was amazing. Neil Young is he's fucking amazing. He still has an amazing voice, and just being under the stars and just listening to Harvest Moon under the stars was pretty magical. And having this ongoing battle with myself with like alcohol and the relationship that I have with it, uh, it just added more to the magicalness of being able to really just say no, not today. It's okay. That shit is stressful. And I feel like a lot of people deal with this shit. It's such a normalized thing. Some of us get lost in it and we just never decide to um, try and build a healthier relationship with the consumption of alcohol, and you know it ends up staying. Or sometimes we've seen it growing up and we don't know how else to hold on to it. But I feel like a lot of people definitely struggle with the consumption of alcohol, 'cause it's fucking everywhere. It's everywhere. It's like anywhere you go, you can fucking consume it, and it's hard not to when you either have anxiety or you're in a group of friends and you're constantly convinced that that's the only way to have a good time. That's another thing. It's like I feel like from drinking in settings with groups of people for so long, you just kind of relate the two. Like, that's the only way to enjoy or have a good time. And that's not true. That's not true. Uh, I fucking enjoy just going and eating and having a fucking deep ass conversation. It doesn't have to be at a fucking bar. It doesn't have to be consuming alcohol. But we all have our own thoughts and battles and feelings towards that topic, and that's just a little bit of mine. But yeah, that's what I did this week, and I got my back tattooed actually also. See, I did a little much. I got my back tattooed, and that was fun too. That was a little therapy session, and I found out some weird fucking shit from the artists that work at that tattoo shop, and that shit was crazy. I'm just gonna say that we now are all trauma bonded. We're all now trauma bonded because of my toxic ex partner. Yeah, that shit was crazy, dude. I am running out of time, so I'm not going to talk about it in this episode, but I might talk about it on the next one. And I don't want to say too much, but I'll just say that that shit was wild. And I don't know if I needed to hear all of that shit, but it was very interesting to watch a group of men at a tattoo shop all trauma bonding with me. And I say that very, very, very very jokingly. But yeah, that shit was fucking weird. Um anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and I will continue to make these episodes. I don't make these episodes to talk shit about anyone but myself. If you, yeah. So, so if you stay till the end, thank you, and I will see you, or you will see me on the next episode. Thank you for watching, guys, and I hope I didn't bore you or offend anyone. But if I did, whatever. Life goes on. Get with it, or get the fuck out of the way. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys.